It's the Undressed Show. Yes, it's Wednesday night Undressed. Here we are again, sat in front of an audience filled with the amazement at the expensive decor, which is Conroy's Bar here in Uptown Lawrence. Yes, that special and welcoming smell that greets one on entry. We know we're back home at Conroy's Emporium, where you can catch anything your heart desires. Yes, it's Wednesday, and I'm your Brexited host, Jeremy Taylor, and I try to bring some semblance of credibility, maybe a soupçon of amusement and light to the shadows of this Undressed podcast, recorded live here in the back of Conroy's. I look at me, and what do I see? The panel. The very wise Dr. Orlando, the indefatigable Kathleen Taylor, the very special Tyler Durden.
JT, what's good?
Yes, what's up? Ivanov is somewhere around. I tell you what, we're just going to get on with the show today because Conroy's been away and he's not been talking to anybody. So we want to start a new game. The new game is called What If We're Wrong About? And what we do is the subject could be broccoli or poop or Martians or Canadians. Anything. There are 10 random words. Each panel member will have a number picked by the audience and will have to explain why they might be wrong about that word. Yes, why might you be wrong about that word? Whatever the word is that goes with the number. So let's start with Dr. Orlando, the very wise Dr. Orlando.
I'm ready.
And I want the audience to shout out a number, please. Any number you like between 1 and 10. 3. Cats. Why might we be wrong about cats?
Well, up till now, we have thought that cats really like us. We think that they need to be around humans and they need to have humans feed them. But what if we're completely wrong? What if, instead, we are the subject of experiments by the cat nation?
Yes, like this. Good.
What if they're waiting for you to die just to eat your body?
Well,
that's
I don't think that that's
no, it can be cats too.
Yeah, I think that they literally are waiting for us to die so that they can eat our body.
They're just waiting for the cat food to run out so that then they have to kill us.
They have the excuse to kill us. But no, I think it goes deeper than that. I think that all this time we've been thinking that dolphins are the smartest mammals on the planet next to humans. I think we're wrong. I think that cats may be the single smartest thing in the universe, and that cats keep detailed records on our behaviors and learn how to manipulate us and how to make us do the things that they want to see us do. I would submit that not only is the Marvel Universe a construct of cats, but even going so far as to say the Mr. Bean character, completely created by cats.
It's possible. He has not seen our cat.
No, I mean,
It's the
I asked this
stupidest cat
question,
in
I
the
put
world,
it down
but, you know.
because in the middle of the night we hear thump, thump, and the bedroom doors, we have 2 into our bedroom, rattle. And at first we didn't know what it was, and then we realised what it was.
It was your cat's reggae band.
Yeah, our 25-pound cat throwing himself against our bedroom door so that he would be allowed in.
I can't logically argue against your statement. I am baffled. Yeah.
And our cat, interestingly, now I don't know whether this goes with what you're saying, our cat speaks North Korean.
So maybe the
Because
cats
I
are
have
not
a friend
only
who's South Korean and says
killers.
that cat sounds a lot like one of the Il Youngs or whatever they're called.
Okay.
And he always says, when we arrive home, he always goes, ow, ow. Always.
He does, yes.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, borderline racist.
Ow, ow. In fact, our producer, Eric the Awful, has actually met the cat.
Somewhere in there's a joke about Chinese restaurants feeding you cats.
All right, so Tyler, since you're being unfair about the cat, would someone like to call out a number? What if we're wrong about
7.
coat hangers?
What if we're wrong about coat hangers?
Yep.
Oh, my goodness. Coat hangers.
Don't you first have to form an opinion about coat hangers and then
Yeah,
decide whether
Tyler
you're
has
wrong
a coat.
about
I mean,
them?
it could be metal coat hangers
You're not
and
going to
wooden
give me like
ones.
a declarative statement to state if we're wrong or not?
It's all up
I can
to you.
here, let me pitch one to you. Most people
This should be good. This should be good.
Most people think that it is your coat that hangs from the hanger, but
Not sure how that helps.
What if
Okay,
the coat is
okay.
supporting the hanger?
No more acid for Dr. Orlando. All right. What What if we're wrong about coat hangers?
Well, I'm thinking here, Tyler, that maybe we just assume that metal coat hangers is what they're for, because when the person, and it was probably a man, came up with the idea,
I think it was MacGyver.
a metal coat hanger, right?
So
I bet you he was thinking about something else, and then realised that he could use it to hang his shirt on.
Actually, I was kind of thinking, what if we're wrong about coat hangers and their necessity altogether? I mean, I can remember a time in my life when instead of having hangers, I just had piles of clean clothes in my room, and I knew what was in each pile, and I knew where it was, and
you knew where you stood.
I didn't have to iron it, and I didn't have to worry if it was. Yeah, and I knew where I stood. I knew exactly where it was, and I didn't have to hang it up. It decreased my laundry time. It was nice.
The hairs on my arm are standing up right now, thinking about piles of wrinkly clothes.
Maybe hangers are like cats.
I'm just reaching for something here. I'm not saying this. To be honest, I'm not saying this is exactly true. I'm just reaching for something.
Hangers are the masters of the universe, and we are living in a hangerverse.
I thought of a way to finish the statement. What if we're wrong about hangers? But it is totally inappropriate. There's not a prayer in hell I'm going to say what I'm thinking. Not a prayer in hell.
So what are you thinking?
Use your imagination.
Nope, not going to happen. Nope.
What can you use coat hangers for other than coat hangers? I mean, what might have they originally been designed for?
Musical instrument.
Yes.
Buildings.
Medical instruments.
Things.
See, there we go. That's exactly the
unacceptable.
thing I was trying to avoid. Why I kept my mouth shut.
That's okay. We can count on the
Yeah.
Brit.
Oh, the
bringing it
Brit.
to light. What about
In the back alley, Sally. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Talk for yourself, sweetie. What's up?
wow?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Let's grab another number from the audience, please, and we will see what Kathleen has to say. 10 calories.
What if we're wrong about calories?
What if
I
we're wrong
like
about calories?
this
See,
one.
how come I can't
I
get
got
that?
a softball. Oh, yes. What if we are wrong about calories? And calories are actually excellent things. And if you eat a lot of calories in really unwise ways, actually it boosts your brain power, your stamina, your health. You are let free of your inhibitions. What if that happens? I think I'm going to try it.
Can I assign you as my new doctor?
Oh yeah.
Please?
Oh yeah. I think that's a good idea. Just let yourself go and quit thinking about calories because they're senseless.
I think we can take it a step further. I think we can divide calories into 3 groups. We have the helpful calories. That would be your alcohols, your ice creams, and your beers.
Breads.
Breads. We'll go with breads.
Okay.
And French fries. Got to have French fries.
French fries and beer are in the same category.
We have the yucky calories,
Okay.
which would include anything that is green or yellow in color.
Whoa,
And most of those are low in calories.
Slow
so-
down, Turbo. Slow down. Macaroni and cheese is yellow.
Oh, God damn
Come on
it.
now,
You are right.
come on
I'm
now.
sorry. We'll
He's
just
here
go
in
with
America.
green.
Green's good.
Not everywhere
We'll
else.
we'll just go with green.
This is slightly orangey colour in England.
And then we will
Yeah.
have the neutral calories. Neutral calories are just things that don't really harm you, don't really help you. That would be plastic. I mean,
I
margarine.
don't know how many calories there are in pieces of plastic. Oh, margarine, yes.
Talking about is
What
Lewis's
if
food
we're wrong
pyramid.
about calories?
Oh,
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
well,
it would be a wonderful world if
let's-
we're
Hold on,
wrong about
we gotta
calories.
explain.
Yeah.
Mr. Evil just got here. We got to explain to him the nature of this game.
Well, this is a game where the audience pick a number, and that number relates to a particular word.
and then
And the question is, what if we're wrong about whatever that word is?
yeah.
So what we're going to do is the audience is going to pick another number, which is
Oh.
6.
Six.
Six,
Cheese
you ready?
is yellow. Eggs are
Yeah.
yellow.
Ready? And what if we are wrong? Ivanov,
Yes.
famous broadcaster and writer extraordinaire.
Yeah.
And damn sexy.
Yes. Dangerously
What
dangerously
if-
handsome.
What if we are wrong about potatoes?
What if we are
Oh,
wrong
no.
about potatoes?
What if we're wrong about potatoes?
How did I get coat hangers? Are you kidding me?
Well, don't worry. We'll probably go round again. What if we're wrong about potatoes?
What if we're wrong about potatoes? We probably are wrong about potatoes. First of all, we might be wrong that do we know if potatoes are a vegetable? Are they a vegetable?
Well, this is what I've often wondered with you being a true
tubers.
vegetarian.
Yeah.
Do they actually squeal when we cut into them?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Tiny little potato
Yeah.
screams.
Well, we might be wrong
I would eat a bag of
about. We might be wrong about this misconception that potatoes are not good for you because potatoes actually probably have potassium.
Actually, they're quite
I might-
good for you.
I might be wrong. Yeah.
They have vitamin A, vitamin C, tons
They
of
have
carbohydrates.
vitamins.
They're actually that's what the Irish
So
lived
what
on.
you're saying is
Yeah.
the French fried potatoes are probably not good for you.
Yeah, those are probably not good for you.
Yeah, probably.
What are you
Mashed
not.
talking about? Those are
potatoes.
great for you.
Hey, along with my
I'm
calorie
insulted by the mere
misconception.
I'm just-
idea.
What if
I'm
we are
just trying
wrong?
to help Mr. Ivanov.
What if we are wrong that potatoes are potatoes? Because think about this. Think about this. You've seen the famous documentary, right? Super Size Me? Mm-hmm. And if you've seen the extra features on the DVD, one of the extra features is dedicated to French fried potatoes. And what it discovered was that when you drop a French fry from McDonald's onto the floor of your car, and you find that same French fry like 3 or 4 months later,
Oh, God, I thought it was gonna
stays-
scream or something
No,
when
it
you dropped
stays
it.
exactly the same. It is exactly the same. So bacteria even doesn't want to have anything to do with this potato, but we readily put it in our stomachs. So is the potato actually a potato, or is it something else?
But-
is it something synthetic?
But perhaps, going back to the calorie conversation we had earlier,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps having French fries cooked that way and ingesting them maybe boost your immune system and actually make you stronger. You
What
don't-
if-
you don't know that?
So
Because
I
if you
can
drop
eat
them
enough
on the
potatoes to
gearbox,
get superpowers?
Yeah.
Is that
They'll
what you're
still
saying?
be warm.
Damn Skippy.
Oh, that's a good point.
Righteous.
But basically, you know that any kind of organic matter on Earth gets consumed by bacteria, right? Anything. If you drop something on Mars, a human body, it's gonna stay the same. It's gonna stay the same because there's no microorganisms on Mars. So you go in 1,000 years, it's gonna be the same. Here it's gonna rot, and with the French fry, it just stays the same. It's like miraculous. I don't know what McDonald's puts on it, but it's definitely plastic. And then
So why aren't people who are dying of diseases and decide they're going to be frozen before they die? Why aren't they being asking to go to
on
Mars?
Probably they should. Anyway,
I thought you were going to ask, why aren't they being French fried?
Well, they could be.
yeah.
Yes.
And then
Ruins the complexion.
And then there's a bizarre, probably an urban myth, and I'd never checked this on Google. It's amazing. I mean, the internet has arrived. I was a kid, and when I was a kid, there was no internet, obviously. So this was a kind of an urban myth that if you eat raw potato, you will raise your body temperature. And so I would eat raw potato when I wanted to play hokey and skip school. And a lot of my schoolmates did the same thing. They would just eat, and that would raise a couple of degrees the body temperature, and we would pretend when you all
so
the
you're telling
symptoms.
me it actually worked?
Well, I wonder if it's psychosomatic. I wonder if there's some kind of
Did
like
you
a
become little
psychosomatic.
miniature batteries or something? I mean,
Okay, let's do one more.
Yeah,
one
it's
more.
possible.
Let's pick a number. 9, and we'll give it to Tyler Durden since he was
well,
complaining
what about
so
you,
much.
Jeremy?
Yeah, what about you, bud?
Number 9, facial hair.
Facial hair? What if we're wrong
What
about
if we're
facial
wrong
hair?
about facial hair?
Okay. Well, I guess it depends how you feel about facial hair. I would say that
I
you're
don't
wrong
feel
about facial
about
hair.
anything to do. I don't go
You're
feeling
wrong about facial hair
because
because it's awesome,
Yeah.
and
Right.
you need it to survive.
Right.
Yeah.
Period.
I beg your pardon.
Look, I'm just saying. Even though it's microscopic, you got a little mustache. I bet. That's you know. Hey,
Okay, them's fighting words.
that's called evolution. You know.
Okay,
You know.
well, if you want to pick one for me, pick a number, folks.
Okay.
Well, we can pick the number. You've had the audience pick for it.
How about number 1?
How about number 1?
Yeah. What do you got?
Number 1.
Broccoli.
Sweet. So what if we're wrong?
What
about
if we're
broccoli?
wrong about broccoli? Well,
Oh,
here's
it
the
actually
thing.
is.
I take the view that you, i.e. we, everybody I know eats broccoli. When you walk into a restaurant and one enthusiastically says to the waitress or the waiter, "Hello, what's the vegetable of the day?" What do they say? Broccoli. I haven't been into a restaurant where they've said beans or peas or carrots. Why can't it be carrots? It's always broccoli. And I take the view that you are all wrong with regard to broccoli because it's bad for you. How do I know it's bad for you? I'll tell you.
Please do.
CIA briefings.
Oh, because they're always factually correct.
Now, the CIA know what's going on, right? They know about the Martians,
Sure.
they know about everything, right? And when the President of America says, "I am not going to eat broccoli, and you can't make me eat broccoli, and I have the Secret Service here protecting me who will make sure that you can't make me eat broccoli," I take the
Are they
view
gonna
that I
shoot it or
shouldn't
something?
eat broccoli. President Bush 1, said, "I will not eat broccoli and you can't make me.
That's the
I am
only
the
valuable quote by
I am
George
the
W.
leader
Bush.
of the free world and I will not eat broccoli."
Yeah.
And also, it's weird. I mean, it looks like a green oak tree, only
Yeah.
a mini one. So I'm wondering whether or not, it actually comes from Mars.
And what
So
if
you think
we're
we're wrong and that it's really bad for
What
you?
if we're wrong about broccoli and they're actually capable movie producers and make good
Yeah.
movies instead of crap?
There is
Yeah.
Barbara Broccoli, yeah. Well-known Janet Bond.
Yeah. Speaking of facial hair, I always felt like the nature is messing with us. There's certain things that should have gone the other way. For example, why do we have snot? Why do we have snot?
Why snot?
Well, instead of snot, I always felt like it would be so much more valuable.
You need snot.
Well, yeah, but wouldn't it be better if we had gin from one nostril and tonic from the other? That would make much better
Anybody
sense
who would
evolutionary
drink
wise.
that would-
With facial
Oh my
hair,
God.
Wait.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So biologically, then,
and you would want to get sick.
Biologically-
Everybody, oh, you got a cold, sneeze on me. I want some gin and freaking
then
tonic.
You were dehydrated all the time. Yeah.
And you wouldn't have to use tissues. You'd go back to using
with-
hankies because people would want to suck them.
And instead
You
of
know what? I would
yeah.
use my coat hanger and I would
Yeah.
just.
and instead of
I would kind of
You
scrape
could
it in my
pick it.
nostril.
Yes.
And I would irritate my nostril.
Yes.
Then boom, here comes some
Probably
gin.
what it
Yes,
was for.
and
Boogers.
that's how I'd use
If
it.
you think about
Yeah.
it, you've got the little metal crook thing,
Eh.
right? Stick it up your nose, both hands. Ooh,
Yeah.
down,
And if you
down
have a-
comes
Guys are
it.
so
if,
gross.
if you have a
Boys.
runny
Boys are
nose,
gross.
you'll be the most popular person in the bar. Everybody's like, here,
look at that booger.
squeeze your handkerchief in my cup, And then I was thinking with the facial hair, it would be so much better if it was spaghetti instead of stupid, useless hair. We were actually growing spaghetti.
Hey, that would
Come
be
on,
useful.
shaving some spaghetti every morning.
But
Yeah.
is it just plain spaghetti? I mean, there's
If
no.
you let it grow 2 days, it's macaroni.
No, hang on.
And if
now,
you
hang
let
on.
it grow,
Yeah.
If let's say you grow spaghetti, but then when you sweat,
Yeah.
it's like spaghetti sauce.
Yes.
Or Alfredo.
I was going the
Then-
other direction. I was
then-
thinking instead of shaving cream is spaghetti sauce. And you shave it with the spaghetti sauce.
It'd be like a
into
horror movie every time you shave.
That would be a great first date. What are we having, honey? Oh, we're having my
Spaghetti
facial
and gin
hair,
and tonic.
and my snot. It's
have
gonna
we
be
got any
awesome.
grown-ups here who can say,
Okay,
Boys?
so folks, so we
Boys?
come to so the interesting
game's gonna
game.
get
I
out of
think we're
control.
gonna
Then,
do this.
Evo, that
next
never
week.
happens with us, does it?
All right, so I have another question for our panel. Who's your favourite geek? Who's your favourite geek? And it might be Stephen Hawking, it might be Einstein, it might be the physics teacher who turned you on to being
how about
that engineer, or the guy on the TV. Who's your favourite geek?
I take
Let's
we
start
can
with
take
Kathleen.
fictional or real, and I have 3 possibilities, and the first one here is Sherlock Holmes.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a good
He
answer.
qualifies as a
Yeah.
geek. I would agree with that. But he's an imaginary. He's a fictional character. I think
Excuse
Jeremy,
me?
Jeremy was looking for an actual.
Just sorry, our producer is just having a. He's not happy
Okay,
about
I'll go
it.
with an actual person, Liz Lemon.
Okay, who's that?
Nice.
Who's Liz Lemon?
30 Rock.
Good answer.
Tina Fey.
Okay.
She's the producer of the.
Oh, right.
Tina Fey's a good geek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's a kind of a good-looking geek.
Okay.
So
as
Tina
far as geeks
Fey,
go.
you think Tina Fey's a good geek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, her character Liz Lemon is a very good geek.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is very geeky.
Yeah.
Dr. Orlando, who's your favourite geek?
I'm gonna go fictional character.
No, of course.
Apologies.
Like Doctor Who or something.
No,
Spock.
Hadn't thought of
no.
Oh, that was another one.
Sparky, the auto mechanic from Speed Racer.
Oh my God.
There was never.
I'm not surprised. I think it's Speed Racer.
By selecting this, you became the biggest geek in the world. Just unbelievable.
He's been your hero since you were how
The
old?
champion of geeks. Oh my God. The auto mechanic from Speed Racer. Tell us more about that guy.
Oh, he helped build the Mach 5. He kept it running. There's just nobody better.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Very
I
good.
suppose Iron Man's a geek.
He is. He's not as good as Sparky though.
Oh, okay.
Tyler, who's your favourite geek?
You guys are on that right path. It's Stan Lee.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he created
the
a
ultimate,
whole just
the ultimate
pantheon of geeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that makes perfect sense now that you said it.
Stan
I
Lee.
never would have
He
guessed that
inspired
for you.
millions
Yeah.
upon millions
Yeah,
of geeks.
yeah.
Oh my
And his
God.
favourite phrase?
Excelsior. That's right. We're geeks.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Evo, your favourite geek, real or imagined?
Man, I got a lot, probably. I mean, there's like an endless list. Probably. I can go with, a fictional like Doctor Who or Spock that I mentioned, but
When I say
can-
there's an endless list, it means I can't think of anybody.
a hot geek would be Natalie Portman,
Oh, there you
who
go. Okay.
is very famous for her. She's multilingual. She speaks like 8 languages. She's genius, and not just like French and English. She speaks like Japanese and Hebrew, and
That's like
and
the-
she writes.
The girl who was on the Wonder Years.
Yeah.
Who just
Yeah.
got like numerous mathematic books.
Yeah,
And,
and it's hot.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Danica, whatever the hell. her name
Yeah,
is.
but ultimate, and I like Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah,
that's. I mean, you can't go geekier than that.
Yeah, he's pretty geeky.
But then, ultimately the greatest geek of all time, hands down, Nikola Tesla, and I'll tell you why.
Good call.
I'll tell you why.
yes.
First
I
of all,
like that.
he comes from my neck of the woods.
Uh-huh.
He
There are
is
woods in Bulgaria?
on so there's a lot of woods. There's so many reasons for that he's the ultimate geek. I mean, he invented everything. He invented the alternating current.
He's
you
far
know,
more geekier than
Edison.
Yeah.
Edison.
Oh, yeah. Edison ripped
was
him off big time.
Edison was a douche thunder, man. He was
Yeah.
freaking ridiculous.
Yep.
He stole everything that
Everything.
Tesla did. What Edison was not a scientist. He was a CEO. He basically
was
would,
a thief.
He would run quickly to the patent office with whatever invention his employees had. Nikola Tesla created. You know what that idiot did, Edison? You know the story where he had these transformers. He had the directional current, right? Edison did, which required a transformer within 1 square mile. So we had to have transformers everywhere. Where Tesla, fixed this problem, and Edison had promised him the equivalent of $1 million. It was $50,000 if you fix this problem. So Tesla works for months, comes up with this brilliant, genius solution, and goes, now give me the money. And Edison said, you don't understand the American sense of humor. Here's $10 increase for your weekly salary. So Tesla packed
was
his
the
stuff
original
in.
Trump.
But Tesla also invented the radar. He invented radio. Marconi stole 17 of his patents to create radio, and Tesla basically said he was the nicest guy. He said, "Go ahead, steal." But
We have cell phones because
of Tesla, and he created this crazy tower. You know about the Tesla Tower in New York, where he basically could transmit electrical current using the Earth.
Yep.
Using the Earth, and wirelessly he could reach any part of the world.
Capitalism.
Conceptually.
Capitalism came and put him down.
Yes.
Because Tesla was making energy free.
They realized they can't profit off of
Yep.
it, so they shut him down. But ultimately, Tesla was the incredible geek. 86 years old. He died. He lived 86 years, which is amazing at that time. Never had sex in his life. Doesn't get more geekier than that. He was celibate for his entire life. Why? Because he said it interfered with his thinking and with his creative genius, and I say geekness is sacrificing sex for science. This is ultimate. This is the greatest geek of all time. He died without having sex one single time. Amazing dude.
I vote for Tesla.
Nikola
Yeah,
Tesla.
you got it.
We can't
Yeah,
drop that.
you got it. Yeah.
Oh, great. So, mine, I have to say, because they succeeded on my birthday, would be the Wright brothers.
Yeah.
I think the Wright brothers. I mean,
You can't
Tesla,
go wrong with the right.
No, the Tesla. I agree. You know,
Jesus.
but it's interesting that you don't come up with any. You don't come up with any of the computer guys.
Yeah.
You know, another one might be the
Wozniak.
Wozniak. What about the
Hey, the
guy
Wright
who
brothers
broke
had
the
a
codes?
sister
You
who,
know,
spurred them on.
Turing.
Alan Turing.
Yeah.
It's very interesting how many and how special the geeks are in our world.
Yeah.
In the
And then
last,
there's my son.
And I think a geek has come to
Who
a
is
point in
geeky
society where
and
it
lovely.
no longer has a negative connotation to it.
right?
Yeah.
I think geek is actually somewhat a positive
Oh, yeah.
description.
Oh
of
yeah.
people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I never hear someone being called a geek in
Is
a
nerd
negative
maybe
way.
more negative
Maybe,
or a little bit?
maybe, but
a
not
notch?
much anymore because
Yeah.
now you have like you're a science nerd or you're a comic book nerd or you're a
Yeah.
whatever
yeah.
Well, back
nerd.
at 30 years ago, being a geek or a nerd or something was
30
not
years ago
good.
different.
Yeah.
Now, not
Now,
so
if
much.
you're a
Yeah.
computer specialist,
Yeah.
that's a good thing because
Yeah.
you can earn money.
Yep.
You know, interestingly. Okay, new subject. New subject for the panel. Be quiet, engineers. We're trying to carry on a show here.
Oh no, he didn't. Oh no, he didn't.
Dear, oh dear.
Interesting. We'd be listening.
Okay, so chief engineer then.
Ta-da!
So chief engineer, someone give the chief engineer a microphone. Who's your favourite geek? Give the chief engineer.
You know, I haven't been listening, so I don't
Yes, you
know.
have. You're lying.
Is it
I
so
think
interesting?
I would say Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
He is my favorite geek at the
He's
moment.
the guy that does the bacon. Tyson. is that-
Another amazing guy
Exactly.
because
You got it.
He's a brilliant scientist, but he was also a championship wrestler, like incredible.
No, that is true actually. Yeah.
That picture on the internet is just cut, man.
Yeah.
This guy's strong. By the way, Nikola Tesla, to say one more thing, he was very handsome, 6 feet 6 inches tall. Very handsome. Girls were crazy about him. Never had sex. Amazing.
And he
Well-
also did that movie with Wolverine,
Did he?
The Prestige.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's him.
Here's a thought for you, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a thought. The Australians can do this, by the way. The Australians can do this.
Speaking
so
of
why
Wolverine.
why can't the Americans? Should voting in America be compulsory, and should voting be done over a weekend?
Okay, yeah.
Should voting in America be compulsory, and should it be done over a weekend? Incidentally, about 25 countries, voting is compulsory. In Australia, if you do not vote, about 3 months later, you will be fined $20. If you don't pay the $20, then it goes up to $180.
Oh.
Right? Now, a lot of people take the view, I can't be bothered, and they send in their $20. In this country, we would raise something like $4 billion if we had the same rule.
It would, of
Which
course,
could-
cost $4 billion
which
to
which
collect it,
could
but
which could
whatever.
go in all sorts of different directions. But I'm wondering what you guys think. I've often thought that voting should be done over a weekend with the government paying the costs, because that would mean that people would be able to vote on a Saturday or a Sunday. You know, it may be the Lord's Day, but that would mean the Jewish folk could vote on Sunday, which is not the Lord's Day, and vice versa. So what do you think, guys?
What do you mean by the government paying the cost?
Well, that it's...
You mean the
it's-
national government, the local government?
The
What?
national government. It's a
Because the
federal
local
cost.
government bears the cost at the moment.
Well, we
local government, or but that staff should be paid to come in at a weekend and run the elections, and in many countries they do.
yeah.
So what do you think? What do you guys think?
Obviously, we vote on Tuesday, which is ridiculous. That just
I mean,
makes
who wants
no
to
sense.
do anything on a Tuesday?
I think it goes back to 1840s or something, where basically people like we were farm-oriented country, and we used buggies and horses, and farmers had to travel for 2 days to get to the polling station, and they didn't want to sacrifice the worship time, on the weekend. So they had to. I did
Jesus
air
don't like
quotes.
voting.
I did air quotes for our listeners. I hope I hope you felt the rustling of the air.
Yeah.
but
And the facial hairs.
yes, but that's the reason I think we're voting on Tuesday. Is the only reason is that freaking 150 years ago we had horses and we couldn't get to the polling stations. Now it makes zero sense for us to vote on a freaking Tuesday where the rest of the world, I'm pretty sure most of the world votes on Saturday or Sunday. And that makes perfect sense.
voting
Okay,
over
but
an
let's
entire
go.
week would be good.
Let's go back to the first issue. Should it be compulsory? You bet your ass it should be.
Yeah.
However, it will never be because
It's
if you do that, the
anti-democratic.
first thing you're going to see is Americans screaming, "No, I have freedoms. You can't force me to vote. It's my God-given right not to vote." That's the American way. You'll have people screaming that left and right, even though I agree it should be something you have to do. If you are a citizen of this country, you have to vote.
Well, all right,
Hold
so
on.
here's
I got a
I
question.
waited for you to say that deliberately because
Oh, good.
in Australia,
You,
darling,
you have the
darling.
freedom not to vote.
in
but
Australia,
you have to be there.
in Australia, they say that voting is the same as being on a trial, being on a jury is jury duty.
Civic
it's
duty.
the same as jury duty, civic duty.
I'll tell you what.
You cannot, if you get
Ooh, that's a good
caught
point.
to go on jury duty, you can't turn up and say, "Oh, I'm an American. It's my right not to sit on a jury." You have to sit on the jury.
I tell you what would be
That's
even
a
better?
good point.
What would be even better if you got rid of the electoral college altogether?
Yes.
You would see the percentage of our population actually voting would increase dramatically, because then they would actually understand, oh my God, my vote counts. I'm actually going to get off my ass and go vote now.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I just
Every
had a
vote
great
counted,
idea. When you said electoral college, I was thinking, like there's not a high standard academic institution for pornography, and that could be erectoral college.
Dude,
Wouldn't that be awesome?
that college could be right next to Disneyland.
Erectoral college is the college for the porn
Kathleen, let's
industry.
bring this back. Kathleen, do you think
God.
voting in America should be compulsory and should it be done over the weekend? What do you think?
Miss you, Evo.
Kathleen?
Well, your jury duty example is very compelling, but I don't think that floating the idea of making voting compulsory is a good idea for the next 30, 40 years.
Why the next 30 or 40 years?
Because it's not going to happen, and it's just too much for people to think about. People in this country don't like to think.
That is
Now,
true.
the whole voting on the weekend thing, though, I think that's brilliant, and it should happen.
It should very much so.
Much longer hours than we've got, and not on a weekday. That's also not going to happen as long as states are controlled by people who have a vested interest in having fewer people vote.
And to add to your argument, I guarantee you there have been numerous times where they don't really feel like voting because they get done with work because they haven't had time to go vote during the workday. They're going home. It's like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm like, you know what? I'm too tired to vote.
And
just
it's
gonna
not
go
gonna
home.
make any difference
Screw
anyway.
that.
Right.
Yeah, it's not going to make a difference anyway.
Yeah.
You know, when you said that about voting and choosing not to vote, and I remember, I think there's a country, and I think it might be Ireland, where you are allowed not to vote, but you have to be there. You have to show up.
Oh.
And then you can say, I don't want to vote, but you have to be there
Ooh, I
and
like
sign
that.
up. It's
so you
interesting.
can vote for none of the above.
Yeah.
So you mark yourself
like
as
that.
present but not voting.
But not voting. So that's an interesting concept. When I was
And that is the same in Australia. You have to show up.
Yeah.
You do not have to vote.
yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. So
So your name, you tick your name off the
Yeah.
voting register.
yeah.
If you choose not to, actually,
So I can't just stay at home and then expect a letter in the
Because
mail
it's
from the government that
because-
says, "Oh, give us $20."
and you send them $20. It's the same
I
as.
actually have to physically be there and say, "No,
All right,
I'm not
so
voting."
So would you buy
Okay.
yourself out of jury duty?
No, actually, I wouldn't. To be honest, no, I wouldn't.
you
Have
know,
you ever served on a jury before?
I've not.
I've been summoned.
However, I've been.
Yeah, I've been summoned.
I
Haven't got on
have.
it.
Yeah, I've been summoned, but I was not picked.
No, I'm just curious.
Lewis, Dr. Lewis, what do you think? Do Do you think voting should be compulsory, and do you think it should be done over a weekend?
I think, without question, it should be done over the weekend. I think the weekend is probably not long enough. I think that there's absolutely no reason that we can't have a full week, month of voting. People come out and do it when they want to. I think that the arbitrary 12, 14 hours that we have right now is entirely that, just arbitrary. And
do you think that people would be influenced by how they see the voting already going?
they don't have to know how they see the voting.
It's
already
awfully hard to keep stuff secret for more than a day or two.
That's true. I think the weekend's like the max you could go.
Yeah.
I think that if we were in a situation where we wanted to keep the results secretive, I think we'd figure out a way.
Maybe.
I think the question of compulsory voting is an interesting one because it kind of throws some preconceptions on its ear. If you are either counting on a low voter turnout or an informed voter turnout, it really, really changes the strategy of what you try to do when you're trying to raise votes. Do you make it as simple as vote for me and give me I'll give you $10? Do you, it just changes a lot of, for me, it changes a lot of the things that I take for granted. I always think an informed voter is a strong, important voter. Yeah. But that is completely gone if everybody has to vote. Then it almost, to me, becomes a little bit more like a popularity contest than really having a meaningful dialogue on whatever the issue is that you're talking about. So for that reason, compulsory voting, it would be a scary prospect.
That's
actually, if you really want to get people to vote, what should happen is the government should have a lottery. If you vote, then you're in
for $1 million?
Yeah, no, I'm talking then you're in the lottery of like $100 million.
That's a great idea.
I mean, if you really want to get people to vote,
You get all
go
the
vote,
fines
and
from
boom,
people
now
who
you're in the
didn't
lottery.
vote.
Well, I'm not sure that again, I'm not sure that
I'm going to be voting,
just voting
often.
for
I'm going to be voting a lot.
for the purpose of voting gives us what we want. Like the thing that, I am ignoring the notion that the reason that we have the system that we have is entirely for the landed gentry to keep their land and gentry.
No, you hang about, old son. You give
No.
off that subject.
I am saying that there is an ultimate purpose beyond that. That the idea is that you wanted to have people that had a genuine interest in the outcome of the vote. And if you make the voting compulsory, you undo that. I'm not saying that in and of itself is a bad idea. I'm saying that in the context of this conversation, I am not able to wrap my head around making our government
But we gave
function
you
the
your
way-
independence. Look what you've done with the bloody place. You've got a bloke with a tribble about to get elected.
But see, this
What
is
is
why
it with
I like,
the uppity Brit?
I know,
What the
right?
hell?
This is why I like Lewis, though. I like Lewis because he is leaning to the left, but this is definitely a Republican point of view that he's bringing up. He wants only the informed people to vote. In Switzerland, they did a study saying that if they make it compulsory, the liberal side will gain about 20%. So basically, the people that usually are suppressed from voting are people that lean to the left. So it's interesting because this is a strictly Republican view not to have a compulsory voting because the compulsory voting will definitely tip the scale towards the left.
And I think that is for my benefit. That is a really, really good thing, and that is why it's difficult to say, hold on a minute, how does that affect every single thing that our government does? Because it is almost a foregone conclusion that if we have compulsory voting, we're going to see a much more even distribution of income. We're going to see more even keel laws spread. We get rid of the evils of gerrymandering. We get rid of so many
voter
great
suppression will
things
be,
if we have compulsory voting. But we have all of these structures that are based around this idea that you need an informed voting base.
And the electorate these days is more poorly informed than ever, despite the plethora of news outlets and.
There's no need to use big words.
Yeah. The social media.
Hey, you're British. You should like that.
Can you imagine somebody voting just because somebody they saw on Facebook put out a video that they thought was funny? I mean, it's just.
That's how everybody votes.
See, we could have voting on Facebook.
All right,
No.
let's
Kill
move
me
on to
now.
the final question, and we have I know we have a number of immigrants sitting in the panel
Where?
and in the audience.
Kill them! Get them!
My question
Kick 'em
to the
out.
panel is, when are immigrants and their families entitled to use the word we when referring to America, and do immigrants have the right to insist that they are allowed to behave the way they do in all aspects in their home country? For example, could be religion, dress, culture. You know, if I was from Scotland, would you be offended if I wore a quilt?
Yes.
After one
Yeah,
generation,
whether you're from Scotland or not.
3 generations, 6 months, or 6 years. When are immigrants and their families entitled to use the word we when referring to America, and
Never.
do immigrants have the right to
Those are
insist
two
that they are
entirely
allowed to
different
behave?
questions.
Yes, and they're joined together.
Nice, easy answer for you. Yep.
Yes, so since you decided to open your mouth first, Kathleen, off you go.
Ooh.
When are immigrants...
When are immigrants entitled to use the word we as soon as they land?
No. 5th generation, bro.
People who live here have a joint interest. You are banded together with the people around you, no matter where you are.
I disagree.
Well, if you're in a stream of refugees, whether you happen to be caught up in them because you're one of them or because you're different, you have joint interests. You are we.
Yeah.
If
The
you are
second
people
you start
living in
paying
America,
taxes,
you are we.
You are we. The
Tyler
second you
reckons
start
this-
paying taxes, I don't care if you've been here a month,
Yeah.
a year, you get a job, you've been here a month, you're
starting to
paying
contribute.
taxes, you're part of the we. I totally agree with you.
You contribute, but I have a problem here because I just came back from Europe, and
Boy, your
I've
arm's tired.
and I've been observing some really disturbing tendencies in Europe, and I already talked to Jeremy about
Naughty
it.
boy.
Yeah, I was in London, and I was I want to say shocked. Shocked is probably the right word to describe how I felt in London, because I felt for the first time like I was in Islamabad when I was in London. And I was in London 4 or 5 years ago with my daughter, and we had a great time there. And I visit the city 5 years later, and what do I see? From Paddington Station to Piccadilly Circus, I take the bus on Bond Street, on Regent Street, all the way to Piccadilly Circus, all throughout the center of the city. I see a country being built within the country. Very scary, very disturbing. Thousands, not hundreds, thousands upon thousands of women completely covered with burqas and abayas, the complete cover, with the men, their husbands walking in front of them, talking on their cell phones, wearing their gold chains, walking in front of them like, dragging behind them their possession. And this is not an isolate. This was thousands everywhere. I heard Middle Eastern music everywhere on these main streets. I saw the bicycle rickshaws bedazzled with Middle Eastern ornaments everywhere. Hookah shops everywhere on the main streets of London. And I saw British, native Brits, kind of walking separately from this crowd, and yet there was an enormous crowd, and it felt like there's a country being built inside the country. And I don't feel that that's the right way to call yourself we. I don't
but that's
feel
a second topic here.
it's not a second topic.
No, I mean he had two
yeah.
topics. One was when do
Yeah.
you get to, if you're an immigrant and planning to live in a country, when do you get to say we? And I say as soon as you get there.
No.
But the second topic is, do you have the right to demand that you can behave exactly the same way in your new country as you behaved before? Do you? And that's the second topic.
You are calling yourself we, and you have created Afghanistan in England, and you're calling yourself an Englishman. Switzerland is not a member of the European Union. I think that England.
You're kind of running a slippery slope, because if you think about it,
Yes.
even here in America,
Yeah.
we don't have a unified we. I mean,
Yeah.
there are pockets where maybe not to the extreme as
Yeah.
what you were
No,
describing.
absolutely to the
But
extreme.
okay, so there are pockets
Yeah.
just like that here in this country.
Not
and-
quite.
What about
Not
the
quite.
Jewish
No,
enclaves
exactly.
in New York?
I mean-
hold on. Let's go back for a second.
because there really
people-
are pockets just like that
No,
here.
and people seem to think that this is a new occurrence.
No, it's not. It's been here for a while.
No, guys,
Does
guys.
everybody here at the table understand that
Yeah.
that the reason that we have a national language right now is because too many American cities had chosen German
Yeah.
as the language that all their documents would be in. This was commonplace in America and it scared people, especially at the start of Nazi Germany. At the start of Nazi Germany, the American government, the federal government, came in and decided to make a national language of English.
I was not aware of that.
Yes.
Yep, that's true.
So this notion that America is a melting pot has always been this humongous lie that
No.
we
Yeah,
tell.
it's very false.
No,
Yep,
no,
totally agree.
no. Guys, I'm sorry. You have no idea what is happening in Europe right now. You are so far away from the truth. America, compared to what's happening in Europe in Western Europe right now, is an amazing melting pot with people getting seamlessly integrated into society.
Then
will
you know
be-
what? You know what? If
should-
it were a melting
yeah.
pot, then how come they're walking on opposite sides of the street? If they're a melting pot, they'd be
No, he's
walking
saying
the
they're
same-
not a melting pot over
There
there.
are
No.
places.
Oh, oh,
There are places in a town called Luton, which is quite near where my parents used to live. Kathleen and I have flown out of Luton lots and lots and lots of times. Maybe not hundreds, but many, many, many times. Luton was is a town that is an hour's drive directly north of London. And it was where the big General Motors plants were, where they built a lot of the cars, the General Motors cars in the UK, vans and trucks. In Luton, the local police, so think like we have police here, but the police have taken the view that it is easier for non-violent crimes to allow a committee to deal with this under Sharia law. It's easier for them to do that. And my question was, do people moving, whether it's to England, America, or wherever, have the right to say, because this is our culture, therefore we?
A classic immigration pattern is to come to a new country and look for the sameness that you've left. You look for, former people from your place and develop little Odessa or Chinatown or whatever it is. But it is a completely different story to go into France, in Paris or London, and create a place with your own law system, rejecting completely the host country, rejecting the laws, the customs, the oral history, the traditions, implementing Sharia law, refusing to allow women wearing shorts to go through an entire giant neighborhood where you just moved in this country. And saying, no, this is my country now, and you will obey my fucking Sharia law. No, I disagree with this. And this is happening everywhere in Europe.
No, you're
If it's not
disagreeing with
happening
the
here, then.
Sharia. No, you're disagreeing with the Sharia law. What you just described is everything that has happened in American history, from the English coming or the Europeans coming over here and instituting their own law set to talking about people switching sides of the streets because somebody that's a different color than
No,
you
Louis,
is walking down.
no,
Hold on for a
no,
second.
no,
Hold on for a second. The difference between, from my perspective, the difference between what you are describing and what we have here right now is that the people that you're seeing in Europe right now are Islamic. The only difference between somebody that's Islamic coming in and saying, or noticing that we have a group of people over here that are Islamic and are walking down the street, and a group of people over here that are white and walking down the street, versus me being in New York City. And New York City is a bad example because it's a lot more racially integrated. Let's say Bellefonte, Pennsylvania, where when quite literally I'm walking and people are either coming out of their houses to see me or crossing the street so that they don't have to deal with me. Here it is strictly based on color, and there it, from my perspective, it seems to be based on religion.
No,
I kinda concur with Louis.
You're saying
with
Islamic.
With
we are
respect,
not talking about.
that isn't the question. The question was,
No,
when does
that is
someone-
actually the question, because how you define we. There are many different ways you define we, because you can define we based upon color. You can define we based upon religion. You can define we based upon sexuality. You can
define
we
it based on
lots of different
geographic
ways.
locale.
Yep, you can define we in lots of different reasons.
Lou, you
and
said that
rationale.
you
It's-
said that my distinction is that these are just Muslims. No, man, they're not just Muslims, dude. They're not just Muslims.
No, I get
you
that.
go there and you will fucking. They cease being Muslims when you walk in your own city in shorts. If you're a woman and you get acid splashed on your face, that's when you're not Muslim anymore. That's when you're radical Muslim.
The interesting
and there's
thing
got to
is
be a
the-
stop somewhere.
The
It has to
interesting
stop.
thing is that it's not wholly about religion, but you've got to remember in Great Britain, up to, for the purpose of this conversation, say 1900, 1920, right? It was a white country,
Right.
largely.
Uh-huh.
And then because people started to join us from Jamaica or India or
You
what
say
is now
started to join
Pakistan,
us.
you know, well, people were coming back. You know, we had
With
all
their
these
spoils, yes.
foreigners, and all of a sudden, you know, you get people of a different colour. And I leave you with this thought: I had a guy working for me down in the West Country, down in Cornwall, who took his kids back home to see his parents. These two little boys had never ever been to London, and they're sitting on the metro, and one of the little boys turned to the lady next to him, right, looked up at this woman and said, "Why is your skin black? What happened to you?" And my manager tried to climb underneath and hide underneath the seat. Unfortunately, this lady was kind enough to explain to these little kids who had never seen a black person before why. That really wasn't my question. My question was, you know, if you want to move to Paris, you will not wear a burqa or something over your head. You won't wear a big cross. It's not about religion. It's about how, you know, what you want to do, how you want to dress, and all that sort of jazz.
I think the bottom line is, in the United States, we have a set of laws that everybody in this country is upholding and is set to uphold, and they're not going to change just because you've got an enclave of a certain religion or not. And as long as we stick to, everybody follows the laws of the nation.
That's the problem. That is the problem. When you stop following the laws, you create your own law system inside the country that he was just kind enough to become your home. You start following these laws. You don't create your own laws. You don't start repressing people or segregating other people from the host country. No. If you want to call yourself we, you accept the laws of this country. Switzerland is not a member of the European Union. And I think that England, part of the problem is England, the Brexit was due to this problem, the immigration problem. But Switzerland has their own set of rules. Recently, they denied citizenship to a couple of girls who refused at school to swim, to go to swim class with the boys. You've heard about this, right?
Yeah.
And they said, well, it's not Swiss. It's not our customs, you know. So if you want to be citizens, you got to follow our rules. So we're going to deny you
So I
citizenship.
leave you tonight with that thought from Wednesday Night Undressed. Thanks to our panel. Thanks to our producer and editor, Eric Holcomb, and our engineer, Niels Rasmussen. Tom Conroy, of course, who was here a minute ago, for letting us do this every week. Do come and try the steak fries. You can pay for fresh ones, or you can just pick them up off the floor. And for running probably the coolest pub in the region, from me, your Brexited host, Jeremy Taylor. Thanks for joining in. Don't forget to check in with Eric the Awful and I on our shows live on KLWN 1320, particularly on Fridays and Saturdays, where they are even more extra special. Go to the site Wednesday Night Undressed.